Good morning, all. Welcome to the third session on simple motion control of a robotic Spark 5 robot. I think in the previous sessions we have seen the simple introduction to Spark 5 robots. Then we also seen how to use the input-output pins and how to send the data to input-outputs and how to set and reset. And also we have seen the simple buzzer program, right? So how to write the code and how to bug, how to dump into the microcontroller, then how to check. So we have seen all those things. Right, today we'll see one of the important concept, that is a motion control of a robot. Obviously, if your robot is not moving, I don't think a robot will be seems to be interesting, right? So we have to see that we have to give some control for the give some direction so that your robot is moving. So based on that, we can create different types of applications, right? So based on that, today we're going to discuss introduction. So what are the primary things that we need to know before to study about the direction control. Then we see different types of motions, so different directions. Then we're going to study one of the important IC called as L293D IC. We'll see why what is this and all. Then we'll also going to and then how to set and reset and all those things. Then logic table for creating or for providing the different or controlling the different directions. So what are the values that we'll see? Then we'll see the syntax for C programming because we are dealing with the embedded C programming here. So we'll check that also. Right. Then we'll study that also. Then at the end we'll see the demo out based on the program that we dump into the program. So sorry, into the controller. We'll see how it works. Let's why not delay? So let's start. So with respect to Spark 5 robot, it has got two. It has got two DC motors, right? It have a low power with respect to it, 60 RPM, 60 rotations per minute. DC geared motors. We have two. So one is a left and right wheels. So these are the motors, DC motors. And these motors are powered by a motor driver called as L293D motor driver IC. So it can provide up to 66 centimeter per second of speed. Fine. Obviously, why it is powered by L293D, we will discuss that. And protection of the motor gears from a non-continuous wheel stalling. So sometimes robot and even the robot is off, usually we have a human tendency that simply to rotate the wheels, and even it is off likewise, even motor gears may damage. Fine. And also sometimes your robot suddenly offs or suddenly start operating different operations. If that case happens due to the problems in the controller, there may be a situation if suddenly offs. So in that situation, to protect the motor gears, so we have a built-in clutch operations. Fine. Then with respect to its motion control, it involves both direction control as well as velocity control. Direction control refers to the control over its direction. So in which direction it has to move, right or wrong, the right or forward or left or backward, left, likewise, different directions. And also with respect to its speed, so we have velocity control. So velocity control with respect to speed. So you can control. So on what speed it has to move, on what distance, how much, how long it has to move, right? So you can define its velocity also. Fine. So how slowly or whether it has to move fast. So all these things can be controlled using velocity control. Fine. So for this session, we are not concentrating on velocity control. So we are concentrating on the direction control. So we will be discussing only this. Fine. In the coming workshop, we shall see this also. So workshop velocity control also. Then with respect to motors, so they are actually controlled by dual motors drivers, which can provide up to 600 milliamps of current to each motor. So why it is this? Motors are actually powered by L293D IC because so our motor has got means our robot battery has got very low power, so it cannot provide the much power or enough power so that to move for your robot drivers or wheels. That means our battery will not give you much power, enough power to drive the motors. For that reason, what we have to do is we have to boost up the current so that it will be enough for my wheels or the DC motor so that it can move forward or to take the robot forward. Fine. For that reason, to now to boost up, so we need a motor driver IC called as L293D. Fine. So it can provide the current maximum up to 600 milliamps. But for our robot, at least minimum of 60 milliamps of power is needed to drive the motor. Fine. To drive the robot. So obviously, this is more than enough. So L293D is more than enough. That's why we use L293D dual motor driver IC. Fine. So here you can see this is the L293 dual motor driver IC. Fine. So in order to, so this is given for both ICs. So you can see the connections. Fine. Using this, you can you can drive the motors. Fine. Okay. To change the directions, change the directions. Uh, so we have to give the appropriate logic levels to high or low for both direction control pins. So based on this means for both the wheels, either we send high or low. Based on that, these two wheels will move either in forward or directions or different directions, right? So that will be actually given to L293D because our control pins, whatever the input that we give, those control pins are given to L293D. From L293, so it will connect to the output the of L293 will be connected to motors, the motor wheels. So that will in turn give the direction. So whatever the input that you're giving, you're actually giving to the pins that are connected to L293D. From L293D, in turn, it will give to the drivers. Fine. So obviously for that, you have to enable the driver IC also. Okay. Then with respect to velocity control can be done using pulse width modulation technique. So lower semesters for students may have not have the idea about this pulse width modulation technique. But anyway, we are not going to test this concept today in today's session. But in future, definitely we will discuss this also. So what exactly is pulse width modulation, how it helps us to control the velocity. Fine. So basically, it does is it will give the modulation techniques of how long and how much power has to be given to a corresponding wheel at a particular time, and it's how for how long. So that defines that. That's it. Based on the power that you give to a rope motors, it will move in that speed. That's all. That is the basic idea behind this. We'll discuss that. Then, with respect to various motions, so as I said, a robot has got three wheels, technically speaking. So it has got two wheels, but if you see the robot, it's actually got three wheels. So one wheel is the front, you can see this. It's actually called as Castrol wheel. So Castrol wheel is a free wheel. It has got no control, so it will move in all the directions. So caster wheel moves into all the directions, and it has no control over it. It's a free wheel. But whereas these two wheels that are connected with driver motors or the drive DC motors, So these are the actually the wheels that will going to give the control. Based on that, it will move. Fine. So based on the movement of these left wheel as well as right wheel, we can define its direction. So in which direction our robot is moving. Fine. So we shall see that with reference to these two wheels, we shall see the different directions or different motions. So when shall we say a robot is in forward mode? When both the wheels are moving in the same direction, right? Let me see in the forward direction. So I say that my robot is in moving in forward direction, right? When both the wheels are moving in a backward direction, then my robot is moving in backward direction. Then, so we have something called as a left operation. So when you want to move the robot in the left direction, towards left, so then there's a two-way to turn your robot into left side. So we shall see the first type now. Then we'll see the next one. The one way to do is so left wheel will be moving in the backward direction, and the right wheel will be moving in the forward direction. So when we use this kind of technique in order to turn your robot into left side is, see there is a situation something like this. Your path is something like this. So your robot has to move like this, then you has to take the turn, then it has to move like this. In that situation, and there is no space there and there's a space constraint. So wherever the point it is standing, from there only it has to take the diversion. Then, so this kind of technique will be useful. Let's see how. See, just move. See, it will turn like this. If you observe, from the point it is where it's standing, it will turn. Right? Then it will move forward. So in that situation, so this is usually called as a left turn. It's also called as hard left. Why? Because so one wheel is moving in backward and one is moving in forward direction. Right? It's just like a hard left. So you are forcing your robot in turn into left side. Why? It's also called at hard left or just a left. And the same way for right direction, for right side, right wheel is moving in the backward direction and left wheel will be moving in the forward direction. Right? Means it will move like this, take a right turn, then it will move. Fine. So this is the hard right direction. In the same way. So we have different motions also, the soft right, soft left, backward left, and backward right. Soft left refers to, so your one wheel, the right wheel will be moving into, so soft right refers to left wheel will be moving in the forward direction and right wheel will be in off mode. That means what? Is your robot will going to take the soft turn. Why? Because it will be in steady mode. Only this will going to turn. So that means it is a soft turn. Right? That means it can take a wide turn, right? Because we have a space, so it will have the space so that it can take the wide turn, right? So that is where the soft right will going to help you. Where there is a space constraint, you can take the and a corner diversions. There you can take the hard. In this case, you can take the soft turns. Right? And even for soft left, right wheel will be moving and left wheel will be in off. So that will take the wide turn like this. Again, for the same way for backward direction also. In the backward direction. So what actually we're going to do here is left wheel will be moving in the, sorry, it's actually supposed to be a reverse one. So back wheel means right wheel. If you want to take the left side, is correct. So left wheel will be moving in the backward direction and right wheel will be off. So that it will take the turn like this. And again for backward right, right wheel will be moving in the backward direction and left wheel will be in off mode. So that it will take the left, so right, backward turn. And these are the different motions I've seen, right? And if you observe, only these two wheels are moving, right? And also when I was explaining, there are only two ways, right? Either there are only two methods. Either your wheel is moving in forward or backward. And the same way this is also moving in forward or backward. Only two directions. So based on the input that you give to wheel, it will move either in forward or backward. If you set this pin as 1, then it will move forward. If it sets this pin as 0, it will move backward. Sorry, it will stop. Then if you set pin 1 again for different backward direction, it will move in a backward direction. Fine. So only 4 controls are there. Either it will move in backward or forward for left wheel, and for right wheel moving forward or backward. Right. So based on this, so we can control the direction of the robot. Clear? Yes. So this is one of the important IC, that is L293D IC. It's a driver motor driver IC. As I said, so the whatever the battery that we have is not enough power. The drives it not drives the enough power to drive the DC motors. For that we use this L293D IC, motor driver IC. So it will provide the enough power up to 600 milliamps of current to the motor drivers, so that DC motors, so that it can move. Fine. So if you observe here, so whatever the input that you give are these 4 pins. So 1A, 2A, 3A, and 4A. These are the pins that you will actually going to give the control or the input, a turn left or turn right, like that. Fine. So these 4 pins is actually say 1A, 2A, 3A, and 4A. It's actually a Firebird 5 robot diagram. There actually port connection or port pin connection is actually for port A. But here in this case, this is a Spark 5 robot. The port connection is this port B. So it is port A, don't be confused. It's supposed to be port B. Fine. So these are the pins that are connected to port B, and means when you give the input to turn to a particular direction, that pin actually writes the data to these pins. Fine, of L293CD. Fine. So it will take the input, and the output is connected between 2 channels. One is for the left wheel, one is for the left wheel, and one is for the right wheel. Fine. So this LF and LB are the to the right wheels, and LB and RF and RB for the right wheels. This is for left wheel and this is for right wheels. Those 2 pins are connected here. 1Y, 2Y, 3Y, and 3Y. These are the output pins. Fine. So if you observe the diagram here, you will understand. Battery input is taken by L293D IC. Then direction, whatever the input you give for a particular direction, will take from the microcontroller of pin number port B pins, and that will be taken by L293D. So that in turn sends the signal to the motors from through left channel as well as right channel. Fine. And so again, using this, we can also provide the velocity control. For that, we have something called as PWM channels. Fine. And these are the same PWM enable channels as well as enabling IC. Fine. To enable the IC also, you have to generate the pin. You have to give the input, right? So you have to enable this IC first, then you have to give the input. Fine. For that, again, you have 2 different pins that you have to use. For PW1 and PW2, any of that can be used. And you have to enable, for enable also, you will use the pins. Clear? Hope it is clear till now. Then let's see the motor pin configuration, to which pin they're actually connected to. Okay. So with respect to its port pin connection, in the Atmega 16, so these are the pins in Spark 5. Port B, the lower nibble pins of port B actually connected to the control will be used for direction control. Fine. PB0 and PB1 for left motor control, and PB2 and PB3 for right motor control. Fine. That means, so this will be, if you set PB01, it will move either in forward, and PB01 for backward. Likewise, this is for forward and this is for right, backward. Fine. These are the 4 pins, fine, that will be used for direction control. That means whatever the data you type or whatever the direction you want, the corresponding value has to be sent to this port. That means port B. So that in turn given to L293, so 93 IC, so that will in turn sends you to a corresponding channel. Fine. And at the same time, as I said, you have to enable the 2 pins of motor driver IC. Fine. So that is L293 IC. You have to enable that. So to enable that, there are two pins that are connected to this motor driver IC. Fine. So that is from the port D. In the port D, pin number 4 and 5 is actually connected to the enable pins of L293. Fine. So on PD4 is for left channel and PD5 is for right channel. So in order to enable this, you have to send the appropriate value for these two pins in port D. Clear? I hope it is clear till now. So to give the direction control, we use port B, and to give the uh, enable the channel or enable the driver ICs, we use port D of pin number 4 and 5. Clear? So once it is done, this is for direction control, this is for enabling as well as the velocity control. Okay, once it is clear, what is the next step? Because before, I think we have discussed in the previous session also, my Professor Sharad Kumar sir has mentioned. So before you send a signal to a corresponding pin of a corresponding port, so you have to set those pins direction. Fine, first. So that means first you have to set the direction, whether that pin is acting as input or output. That means the channel is acting as input or output. That you have to set initially. Fine. That means you have to send the direction first, then you have to set the pin. Fine. Whether it's the input or output. So then how to define whether it is a input pin or output pin? That is also important. So in the previous, I think in the buzzer turn on operations, you might have seen. So you set there the direction register pin number 3 as output pin, right? So how to decide whether your application or whether your operation is acting as input pin or output pin? So take the robot as reference all the time, right? As a microcontroller as a reference. If you are sending data from the robot to its peripherals devices, then you define the pin as output pin. So if you are receiving the data from its peripherals to the microcontroller, then you will define that particular pin as input pin. For example, so this buzzer, then motor drivers, fine. So these are all and LCD, fine. So LCD is actually the output, right? So these and the LEDs, right? So these are all its peripherals, and you're going to send the data from the controller. So in that situation, you will define these pins as output pins. So there are some sensor that are available in our robot. Fine. So you will go on to sense the data from those sensors. That means you're receiving the data from its peripheral servers, sensors to its controller. So in that situation, you have to define that channel as input channel. Clear? So that is how you will going to define whether it is a channel is input or output. Fine. For that reason, here also. So once you're done with the port D and port B, so we came to know that for direction control it is port B, and to enable the pins it is port D. So you have to, so because to enable or to send the direction means you have to set those pins first, right? So in order to set the pin, you have to define those pins as output pins, right? So again, in order to define that, you have to set the direction registers as output pins. For that reason, so what we have to do, so port B and DDRB. So the lower nibbles, because the lower nibbles we are using for direction control. So DDRB has to be set to 1. This all DDRB pins has to be set to 1. For that, what we have to do? So we have to send DDRB is equal to 0x0f has to be sent, so that all the lower nibble pins will be set to 1. So again, to turn on the enable the IC, so what we have to do? Enable the IC. There are two pins that are PD4 and PD5 pins are connected. So to enable these pins, only these two pins has to be enabled. So what is the corresponding hexadecimal value you're supposed to send? 0, sorry, 0x, this is 3, and this is 0. Then 30 has to be sent. Hexadecimal value 0x30 value has to be sent to the port D, that is DDRD. We'll see that. So what is the conventional way of sending a data is like this. In order to configure port B from pin number 2 to 0 to pin number 3 as output pins, we have to send DDRB is equal to 0x 0f. And to initialize motor's outputs values as low, so we have to send port B is equal to 0x00. So why? Because so initially your robot should be in off mode, right? So it should not be moving. So as soon as you press the button, so if your robot jumps out of it, so how would you, right? So if you have put something on the robot and it has to take that to a particular place safely. In that situation, as soon as you start, if it is jumps, so what actually happens? So obviously, so that will leads to a fall. That is not going to happen, right? So for that reason, so initially my robot should be off. For that reason, I'm sending port B is equal to 00. This is the conventional method of writing. But anyway, so I'm going to use only those lower nibble pins of port B, right? So the higher nibble pins I'm not going to use, and I don't know. Maybe these pins are using by some other applications or some other operations. So in that situation, I cannot use these pins. Right? So otherwise, it may leads to the false operation of those pins. So for that reason, the best way to write is using OR operation or by masking. Right? So how to write is like this. So DDRB OR of 00F. Fine. So that will leads to the lower nibbles to set to 1. So other nibbles will be other pins will be unaltered. Right? And that will not, because our operation, the same thing will remains. Right. Then, so initialize the port outputs values as 0. So port B is equal to port B and of 0xF0. So I'm sending 0xF0. So only it will set these pins to 0. Fine. So the same way for DDRD also. Say I've set those 4 pins 0x30. Then port D has to be motor values as low. So 3 0. So other motor values are 0. And here also same thing. So DDRD 30 and this. This is the best way to write the program. It's a conventional because it will leads to other bits to uh, set or resets. They may set or resets the other pins. So that will leads to a pulse operation, some other application which are connected to upper nibble of port B as well as port D. Fine. I hope it's clear. Then we'll see the logic table. So for different directions. Okay. As I said, for port B of lower nibbles, PB0, PB1, PB2, and PB3 are used for the direction control. Fine. So we'll see how it can be done. So PB0 pin is for LB, that is left wheel backward direction, and PB1 for left wheel back forward direction. So what is the meaning of that is, if I set PB0 pin as 1, so what actually happens? The left wheel will move in the backward direction. If I set PB1 as 1, so left wheel will move in forward direction. The same way for PB2 and PB3. That is RF, that is right wheel forward and right wheel backward. So if I set PB2 as 1, right wheel will move in forward direction. The same way for right wheel in the backward direction. See, now we have different types of motions or directions. We will see how to set and reset. So for forward direction, what I have to do, both the wheels should be moving in forward direction, left wheel as well as right wheel. So right wheel forward and left wheel forward, both should be 1. So that when I send this value to PB, port B, so my robot will move in the forward direction. See, 0x06. The same way for backward, then left, then right, then soft left, then soft right, and even for soft stop, right? So this is when you need to stop the robot, you can set all pins to 0000. Fine. So I hope it is clear. So corresponding bit has to be set to 1 in order to have a particular direction. See, for hard left, right? Right wheel will be moving in forward direction and left wheel will be moving in backward direction. So it will take the left direction. And again for right, again same thing. Okay. Fine. For C program structure, shall see again, I think we've already seen this. Header files, then pin configuration, then functions, and again main program. So we shall see the header file first. So in the header, we have to define the uh, operating frequency of a controller. So it is around 7.3 megahertz. Then, so you have to include the AVR IO header file. So all the IO inputs pins, IO pins. Then AVR interrupt header file. Then also util delay header, because we're going to use the delays in between. That has to be included. This is the header files. And then for configuring and configuring the motor pins, these are the I have written a function. So void motion pin configuration void. So because it returns nothing, so that's why I have a void. So inside this, I have configured. I have initialized all the pins. One is for to set the port B 0 to 3 as high. So direction I have to set first. DDRB is equal to DDRB R of 0F. We have already seen this. Then we have to set the port B is equal to 0 initially because it has to be off in the beginning. So port B is equal to port B and of 0xF0. Then have to set the pins as output pins of to enable the L293 IC. I have to set DDRD is equal to DDR of 0x30 because 1 PD4 and 5. 1 means 30 has to be sent, and initially it has to be enable the values as I for the motor pins. Fine, this is the motor pin configuration. So I've written here. So in the main program, I can directly call this function motion pin config function can be called so that it will initially execute all this. Fine. So we have one more function used for setting motor direction. This is void motion set. So it expect the value to be given. So it is defined as unsigned data type is unsigned character direction. So direction is a variable. Fine, whatever the value that you give inside this, it will store in the direction variable. Fine. So that means if you want to move the robot in a forward mode, you type 06, right? So motion set in between 06. So if you write that, so direction will store the 06 value. Fine. So inside that, what actually happens? Port B is equal to port B and of 0x F0. As I said, I have to reset the lower nibbles initially. Fine. For that, so it has to be off. So for that, I will call that function. Then I'll write the direction. So why? Because every time you give the new direction, your output, sorry, every time you give the new input for a particular direction in your uh, function, so every time you have to reset the port B pins, lower nibble pins. Otherwise, what happens? Here you can see you're performing OR operations, right? So if there is a pin set in a port B, so in the lower nibbles, if you directly send this value, it will perform the OR operation. So there may be a chance that so it will take the different values because it's OR operation, right? So it may set the different values. So that leads to different false operation. For that reason, before you give the input, new input or new direction to the robot, you have to reset all the pins that are there in the port. Fine. Okay. So pin configuration and initialized. And the next is, so for each direction, because I've written the motion set function. So for each direction, I'll write the different functions. See, void forward of void, because it returns nothing to the main function. So it is void. So in between, motion set is a function, right? If I write 06 in the motion set function, 06 will go into store in the direction. So what actually happens in the direction? So direction will store 06. It will execute this port B. That means it will reset the port B pins first. Then it will put the 06 into port B. So that means port B will become 06. So your robot will move forward. In the same way for all the different directions, for void back, then void left, void right, all the values have stored. So based on the table, you can set all the pins, all the directions. You can see. So I've written the functions for all the values and all the directions. And so that what is the advantage of this? So that I can directly call this function inside my main program. So that it will execute this. Fine. So in the main program, so this is the main program. So int main, it returns nothing. So void. So in between, so first I have to call the motion pin config uh, command. So it's a function, so that it will execute all the functions, all the pins, sorry, all the commands that is given written in the motion pin configuration instructions. It will execute all the pins, sorry, instructions. There, what are the all the commands that we have written? See, you have to set the direction, then you have to set the pins into 0 initially, then you have to enable the ICs. So all these will execute. This is the function I have called there. Once it is done, next, so in the while loop, it is a continuous loop. I can call all the different directions. So here I have called the first one is forward. So in the forward, what actually when I say forward, so the forward function will going to execute. In the forward function, in the forward, see, in the forward, I have written this function. This will execute. Motion set of 0, x06. It will execute. And again, motion set is also a function. So that will correspondingly execute this one. So motion set 06. So motion, it will reset the pins. Then it will write the 06 into port B. This is how it executes all the time. Fine. So now forward, then you have to give some delay. Means how long your robot has to move in the forward direction. That you have to give. Fine. So next I have written hard stop. I'll tell you why. Hard stop for how long? For at least of 300 milliseconds, or you maybe a sufficient milliseconds has to be given. Why? Because before you give the next direction to the robot, right, you have to stop the robot first, because it has to reset the pins first, then you have to set the other pins. So initially, so before you give the next instruction or next direction, the port B value should be 0, lower nibble value should be 0. For that you have to stop first, then you have to give the next direction. Fine. That's why I've written forward, delay, then stop, then delay, then give the back, again hard stop, delay. You can see left, delay, again I have stopped, then again given the delay, then right, delay, hard stop, and delay. Why? Because so it has to. So it needs some time to reset the pins, fine, based on the direction you have given. For that reason, you have to do this. Fine. This is the program. This is my program. So what is I have to do is now. So we have to open. Okay. Next, you have to run this program, and you have to dump this program to your robot. So I think dumping the program into your robot, we have already seen that. Fine, how to dump the program. So how to execute using Atmel Studio. Then how to dump the program using bootloader, AVR bootloader. We have seen that also. Fine. So once you come back to college, you can take the robot, you can play with that. So now I'm not going to explain that. So I already dumped my code into the robot. So we'll see how it works for the different directions. Okay. See, in case you can observe. So forward direction, both wheel is moving in forward. Then backward, both the wheels are moving in the backward direction. Then left, soft, sorry, right, hard left. See, where the place it is turning around. Then right direction or hard right, it is moving in the hard right, so in the right direction. And if you observe the place it is standing, from there only it is taking the turn, right? So this will be advantages when you have a corner direction, corner mm, uh, left or the right directions or different directions. Then this is uh, okay, soft left, sorry, soft right, then soft left, then backward right, then backward left. Fine. This is how it works. Again, move forward, then backward. So hard left, then hard right, soft right, so left, then soft right. Again this, again backward. Fine. That is how it works. Fine. So even this is a that is how it works. So I'll show you one more, the closed lookup. So how does it works? We shall see that also. It will be interesting so that okay, we'll see. We'll take the close lookup. We can see yes, both are moving in a forward direction, both the wheels, and both the wheels moving in backward direction. Now it is, so right wheel is moving in the back forward and left wheel is moving in the backward. So that is what? So hard left direction. See, to move in the hard left. Now it's reverse. Left wheel is moving in forward, then right wheel is moving in backward. This is hard right direction. Now left wheel is stop and right wheel is moving forward. That means this is soft left direction. See, soft left. Now left wheel is moving forward and right wheel is off. So it is forward direction. Right now, this is a soft right direction. Now, now left wheel is moving backward and right wheel is stop. That means it is moving backward. So it will take the backward left direction. Right? It's a backward left. Now right wheel is moving backward, so it will take the backward right direction. Again forward and again backward direction. So all these things can be used. So all of these are the directions that how your robot will move. Clear? Hope it is clear with this. And if you observe here I think I've not shown this concept. This I have not explained because I have a close lookup on the robot. I'll try to explain this. Then this is the L293, sorry, L293 IC. Is a driver IC. So from this, these two pins are connected to the driver output pins are connected to the DC motors. Here you can see DC motors. Then its output pins are connected, sorry, input pins are taken from the corresponding your uh, controller. And to define the different directions or to show the different directions, we have LED pins also, LED colors also. So based on the color, if you observe, see, when you change the direction, the LEDs will also turn on, corresponding LEDs. Right? For different directions, we have different combinations of LEDs will turn on, yellow or red, so they'll turn on. Fine. So that we can also observe. So we have that in the table, but I have not shown that. And again, because the LEDs are very small, it is very difficult. So what is the direction it is going? So before that, only we can observe from the wheels itself, so that you can find out what is the corresponding direction you're using. Fine. And again, if you observe here, there is something called a tooth-like structure, right? See, both the wheels has got something as a tooth-like structure. So what is this is? They are called as a position encoders. So what is the use of this is to define the robot position at any point of time. It gives the feedback to the controller. That means just like a closed loop. So when your robot is moving, it will try to exact so what is the position and how fast it is moving, the velocity, right? How fast it is moving, then how much distance it has covered. For all these things, that input or the feedback will be given to the controller. So where there is applications where your robot has to be moved for a particular distance, then it has to stop, then it has to move left or right. In that situation, so in order to give a control, in order to understand where my robot is moving, so Cutter will make use of these positional encoders, right? So it has got around 17 cross sections. So we have also have the IR sensors here, optical sensors. So, so it will there continuously sends the signal. So when you are this optical, sorry, a tooth-like structure, and whenever it cuts the signal, it will take it as a one count. Fine. So for that, so to take the count, we have something a separate LED for that. If you observe while it is moving, see, as it cuts the signal, LED will blink. Right. For one blink, it will take one count. See, it will take it as a one count. See here also and here also, right? It will take it as a one count. So based on it can give up to 17 counts. Based on the counts, so the distance, all these things can be calculated. So that we'll see later, but just for your information, I have given that. Okay. So I hope it is clear till now. So once you come back, you can play with the robot for different directions and all. If you have any queries, you can kindly send a message or you can post your questions so we can clarify in the next sessions. Thank you very much. I thank all the, it was very, overall, the participation was very, really good. Thank you very much. If you have any queries, kindly contact or kindly send message. So we'll definitely will try to solve it. Thank you very much.